Hi guys, welcome back to another video. I'm Jish, and yeah, welcome if you're new, welcome back if you're a current subscriber. And in this video, we're going to be talking about the price breakdown of the GS250 build. Now, thank you to everyone who's watched the video already. It's been a really fun experience sharing that bike with you, and I just fully love that bike for what it is. So a lot of questions have been asked in the video is how much for that bike, how much does it cost for this, what part was that, how much did it cost, and so on and so on. So in this video we're going to be doing a price breakdown and going over all the parts used in that build and what they cost, and then we'll give you a total overall figure of the cost of the entire build, just for the fact that it can show you that these builds can be on a budget. I won't be including the price of the bike just because they vary so much from getting from a scrap heap all the way to having a really nice example, and obviously we all have different starting points and different starting budgets and so on. So yeah, I thought let's leave that out of the equation, but from there on you can price up all the parts. I'll also leave everything down in the description if you want to find specific parts. They most likely will be affiliated links, but that's only to help me out and give me a little bit of kickback if you do end up buying any of those things. So yeah, let's get straight into it. So the first and most important thing that I bought for this bike was going to be the Hayes manual. The Hayes manual, I would not know that bike and the wiring and how it all goes together and the carb settings and so on without having a Hayes manual of that bike and that model. It cost me £10, and it's probably the most valuable thing that you can buy when you are starting these builds. Now, when I was starting this build, it needed a brand new battery and a few other components. The battery cost me £35. Starter relay, £15. Spark plugs, £6. Need them for the service. Oils and miscellaneous probably came to a total of £30 throughout this build. Not very much, but very important stuff that you need for these bikes. It had a brand new gold chain that cost £20. Horn, £6. Ignition barrel and key, £10. I also got a brand new sprocket for the price of £20. Replacing all the cables came to a total of £40, I believe, which would be the clutch cable, the throttle cable, pretty much that's it really, those two cables. But yeah, they're very important things because the old ones, they get a bit rusty and crusty, and while you're doing these things, it's best to get them changed out. The carb rebuild kit, which included the gaskets, all the new seals, brassware inside and all that sort of thing, that came to a total of £40. And again, it's a very important thing to make this mechanically sound, and because you've got to remember this is a 40-year-old bike. Having all the parts powder coated from the swing arm to the subframe, even the wheels, that was a total of £150 by Project Powder Coating, and they did such a great job on that bike. So all the businesses I use will also be down in the description, because obviously these things do vary from project to project, but that's how much it would have cost me. The tyres, these knobbly little tyres, they cost £120. Very strange brand, I hadn't actually heard of them, but yeah, spot on, they've been brilliant. And alongside that, the inner tubes to go with them cost another £20. Now this may really surprise you, but the rear suspension, the two struts that I bought just off eBay, £35, really nice and clean. They're probably not the best brand, they're probably going to have a bit more rebound than some of the other, some of the more reputable brands out there. But for this bike, they've been brilliant. The grips, £6, the handlebars, £27. Honestly, some of these prices were astounding when I found how cheap they could be. Now, don't get me wrong, there obviously is far better stuff out there, but for the bang for your buck, but who cares? It's my bike. If I want to do it cheap on a budget, I'll do it cheap on a budget. I'm not trying to impress anyone. I'm not trying to say, oh, this is the best of the best. Oh, but you know, we're living in hard times. We want to build bikes. Sometimes you've got to do it on a budget. Having all the nuts and bolts zinc plated only costs £20, and it's such a valuable thing to do because it refreshes all those really old, crusty, rusty bolts, and it makes them last a hell of a lot longer than just rubbing them down. Now the engine, it was a second-hand engine that I bought off eBay, just because the one that came with the bike, as you saw, had a spun crank bearing, and it's given me a bit of time to work on that engine whilst so I can get all the exhaust made and so on and so on. But that cost me £50 second hand, and it works like a dream. £50 for a second hand engine. Let that soak in. Now we'll get to some more of the expensive parts and the custom made bits, like the exhaust, for example. If I was to price all the parts up and everything that I did, not including the labour and everything, I'd probably say about £100 to make that exhaust, which is basically the metal, the gas used, and all the materials, you know, like welding rods and so on to make it. That does include the end cannon for the exhaust, which I'll again link down below, but yeah, that's probably the most hefty part of the price of it, to be honest, and I love the look of this thing. Now the headlight, I've actually had a few people asking where I got the headlight from, and it was just off eBay. It was £120, and it's probably more expensive than that some that you can get, but It looks incredible. It's really slim, very modern. And from what I know, it's quite a robust kind of headlight. So yeah, it's a little bit more of it. It's probably one of the more expensive items, but very nice indeed. Moving on from that, the tail lights. Now these are high-sider tail lights. Again, not cheap, but they're so small and so bright, and they have the indicators and tail lights and brake lights all included into those tiny little things. They cost £120. Again, link down below because they are a really cool item to have on these custom builds. Bar end indicators, £10. Nice and easy, cheap off eBay. The fork gators as well, they were also a £5 off eBay. The rear hoop, that was £32 off eBay. The levers, £20. The speedo, £20. Things like the rear brake switch, which are only small items, but they're needed, that was a £5. The seat foam before upholstery was £11, I believe, and actually having the seat upholstered by Auto Retrim, again, link down below, was £160. So you get a good idea of what a custom seat can cost to make. The mudguard and the mudguard mount, I did actually buy the mudguard section kind of prefabricated, but I made the bracket and everything for it, and all that came to was about £65, I believe, which isn't bad for a custom mudguard, I might add. I know all these parts do add up, but trust me, you'll be surprised with how much I actually did spend. Odd rubbers, mounts, gaskets, that kind of thing, they cost an extra £20, but again, very vital things to refresh these builds. And now that leaves us with paint. Again, depending on what you do, what prep work's involved, so on and so on, it can vary so much. But my friend Ben, who did all the painting, and his dad, they did an incredible job. They stayed late at night for me to get this done. I cannot thank them enough. I'll link their information down below again. But that was £450 to get done, and again, I just love that colour. So, if you've been working along and counting it all up, you might know roughly what it's cost. There might be a few things I missed off. There might be a few things that fluctuate in price since then, because obviously this has been going on over a year, but it gives you a rough idea. And yeah, the total cost was £1,793. That obviously doesn't include all the hours put in and the fabrication and so on and so on. As you know, I'm very hands-on. I like to do things myself. I like to give things a go. That's obviously kept the price quite low for me, but I think for a total, that's not bad for a custom bike, for a one-off custom scrambler that I've built myself, that I get to love and enjoy and kind of like do everything I want with. Yeah, at least it gives you a bit of an insight into what it can cost, and you can get some really fantastic results doing it also. So yeah, hopefully that gives you a bit of insight into what it costs to build these bikes. It gives you a bit of insight into hopefully giving a bit of motivation and a bit of like oomph to go and do something yourself with your bikes, because you know, honestly, it's such fun building these bikes, and it is a lot of work, but you really reap the rewards when you get to take it on really nice rides out. Again, thank you to everyone who's watched the build video. Thank you to everyone who's shown support and kind of like joined the channel and become part of this family. You know, the biking community is such a great place to be, and yeah, makes me happy every single day that I could get to share this stuff with you. If you want to see more, please make sure you like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and I shall see you in the next video. Peace. Shout out to all my Patreons out there. Thank you for supporting. It really helps the channel grow.